Hey guys, welcome to Weekend Update. I know it's been a while since we've done one of these. So, we got a new machine to take a quick look at here. It was one of those things that was just too cool to pass up. Even though we're out of space, I don't know where we're going to put this thing. It's going to be a future project. So, anyways, let me turn the camera around and let's have a look at this thing. So here's what we got. It's a little Diamond Tool Company horizontal milling machine, and it's got the rust knock vertical head option. So I guess you could call this a bench top, although it's a little big for a bench top. And I do have a base for it, although it's not the factory base. We'll put a picture of it. It's out in the woodshed because I got no room. Oh, I don't know where I'm going to put this thing. But this thing was pretty cool. I've been looking at it for a while. My buddy had it. And originally we were just going to sell it. But the more I looked at this thing, I go, you know what? That is pretty cool. So we worked out a deal on it. So it's got it's a horizontal, primarily horizontal mill. It's got a Brown and Sharp number 9 taper for the spindle. What size is this table? I'll get a tape measure in a minute. We'll measure it, but it looks like it's 24 by maybe 6. And other than one blemish back here, I mean the table's in good shape. And the ways, I've been doing a little cleaning on this. I wasn't going to, but I got carried away. The ways aren't bad. It's the knee's got this, the big wide V-type way, kind of like a hard-hinge lathe. There is a little bit of, I guess that would be corrosion and a little bit of wear marks, but overall it's pretty good shape. Everything's tight. I don't think this machine's been run in a long time. Because everything was frozen, just gummy. The oil was all dried out, so I've been having to, spray lubricant and light oils to get it freed up. So it's got a power feed. It's belt driven off the back of the spindle here for it would be the X-axis table feed, and it's got automatic cutouts, so you can adjust these guys. And when it hits this guy here, it'll trip the release lever here, or you can manually do it. Let's see, the jack screw for the knee, it actually extends below the base, so it has to be. You couldn't put this on a tabletop unless you had a way to receive the jack screw. In fact, I can't go any lower because I just got it sitting on a cart right now. There's only about 2 inches of space underneath. Okay, so let's look at the nameplate. So this is a Diamond Tool Company, and it's a model B12. Not sure what the 246 stands for. There's a serial number. Interesting on the lubrication. Down at the bottom here it says the above are Saucony Vacuum Oil Company Incorporated products. So if you look at the greases and the oils, gargoyle grease for the vertical screw, the spindle bearings, Arbor support. And then they got gargoyle Vactor oil for a couple of the shaft brackets and tableways. Okay, coming around the back here, you got the a 3-step pulley for your different power feed speeds. You got a 2-step pulley off of the motor, or shiv I guess it would be. So you can change speeds there, and then we've got 3 different speeds here. The main spindle is belt driven, dual belts. So you got 3 times 2, so you got 6 different speeds. The motor is a 1 horsepower, and it's wired for 230 right now, but I think it'll do dual voltage. Doesn't really matter. I could use it either way. The base has a drum switch, so with forward and reverse. Let's come around to the front here. So it came with the crank handle here. The square drive here is pretty wallered out, so I'm going to have to do something with this. It's got quite a bit of play, and especially here, because if you get enough play, that it'll actually interfere with the other shaft when you're adjusting. So probably have to bore that out, make a bushing, and redo that. So then it's got this rust knock head, which I'm sure was an option. I think they had a lot of different options for these machines. The head seems to be in good shape. It was very gummy. I had to really do a lot of oiling and freeing up to get everything to work. But it works. It's like a miniature Bridgeport head. Quill lock is over on this side, and you got a depth stop. No power feed. And let's see. Here's a shot of the nameplate. So spindle speeds go from 380 all the way up to 5200. And the spindle is it's a collet. I'm gonna get it loose here. I'll show you the collets in a minute. But it's a double taper collet. It's like a Y style. I'm not really familiar with them. It's the first time I've had anything with that type of a system on it. Okay, so that's pretty much the walk around. Let me show you what else it came with. Okay, so this drawer goes in the base, which I mentioned before is out in the woodshed. And all this came with it, so we got a selection of cutters. That's pretty big cutter for this size machine, but we'll see what it can do when we get around to getting it cleaned up and working. So, fair amount of cutters here. We got 2 Arbors. We got the drawbar. Okay. Extra crank handle. I don't think this fits anything on this machine. It was just in the box. We'll talk about this guy in a minute. And we got some homemade fly cutters. And this is an interesting, here's the collets. This is the type of collet that goes in the rust knock vertical head. And they're, I think it's a Y style. Okay, so then this guy here is, it's a collet adapter Arbor. It's got the Brown and Sharp 9 taper on it. But this is a really interesting system. Let's go over to the bench and take a look at this for a minute. Oh, on the way to the bench. So it came with a vise, not the greatest vise, but that's probably what you got. I don't know how old this machine is, but it was probably the typical vise for the day. It's got the it's not really an overarm support. It would be the bearing bracket to hold the other side of the spindle. Bushings and so forth that need cleaning. Here's a really worse for wear shell mill holder, and just there's a expanding arbor some odds and ends here. This is something homemade. It looks like it's the correct taper, but I don't know if I trust using that. We've got the end caps here, both sides. So these are for if you're going to run coolant. You know, you can put these end caps on, and they got the little drains. Okay. I don't think that fits anything on this machine. It was just in the pile. Little import machinist jack. And a box of junk. There's some work holding stuff in here and setup blocks and stuff, but man, this stuff is pretty crusty. We'll see if it cleans up. Oh, and then we've got a support bracket. So this guy, I don't think I can, I'll just hold it over here. So this guy would go on the kneeways, and it's an auxiliary support for the Arbor support. All right, well, let's have a look at this thing. So this is a Thurston quick acting double end mill chuck. And I have never seen one of these. I'm glad this came with it because at least I know who makes it now. So it's the Brown and Sharp taper, number 9, so it'll go in the horizontal spindle. And this thing is like a collet inside of a collet. So we've got the main tightening nut here, and I mean this is split like a collet. I don't know if you can see or not. There's 3 keys inside, indexing keys. Threads are buttress threads. It looks like it's very well made. So it looks like the way this works is you pick out the collet you want to use. Okay, there's a 1/2 inch, and it's got notches in here to pick up those keys, so it can't turn. In you go, and then you install your end mill. Let me find a 1/2 inch end mill. Be right back. Yeah, so then you just put your end mill in there. Boy, that's a snug fit. Tell you what, we're gonna put the end mill in the holder first. And that'll drop in there. I think normally you'd have the nut on already. Yeah, and this stuff is dirty, guys. It needs to be cleaned up, so that's probably why I'm having such a hard time here. Yeah, so anyways, I think I think that's the idea. Okay, let me show you the other one now. Okay, so the 5/8 one has an additional key in the 5/8 bore, and I got a couple of these same company, Thurston, and they've got a notch right here, or it's kind of like a keyway that you normally wouldn't have in an end mill, and it intersects that key. At least it should, if I get it in the right spot. There we go. Okay, and then that goes in. There you go. And oh, you're supposed to preload it in the direction of travel. Okay, and then tighten it down. So that's kind of an interesting setup. I've never seen one like that, and if you guys know anything about it, throw it in the comments. I tried to look this up before I knew the name. I'm going to try to look up again, but I tried to find information on the internet, and I wasn't coming up with anything. So anyways, that's kind of cool. Let's move on. Two arbors, and this one here, it's still got cosmoline on it. This is a brand new arbor. I cleaned off the cosmoline off the tapered end here, so we can do a test fit. And I've cleaned out the inside of the spindle, wiped it out good. So anyways, there's how your arbor fits. Now of course we got the vertical head on here, so it's going to be in the way. But normally, most of you guys probably know this, and I've never had a horizontal mill, so this is all going to be new to me, other than just what I've seen with with other people's videos. Well, I did test run the vertical head motor, and it seems to run fine. It's got a forward and reverse. Have not test run this motor yet, and I really don't want to run it because the spindle's pretty tight. I think the grease is really dried out, and I want to pull the spindle out and get everything cleaned up before trying to run it, and obviously new belts and so forth. Okay, so what are we going to do with this thing? Well, right now I don't have time to do anything with it. I've got to finish the home remodeling work. Plus we've got the shaper over here that's still just sitting here. I'm gonna do the shaper first because it's basically ready to go. It just needs a little bit of cleaning and a few minor things. Where this machine is going to basically need a full tear down. It'd be nice to scrape the ways and get everything perfect and put new spindle bearings in and so forth. So this one's going to have to wait a while. Yeah, I want to be able to do it right. It's a cool machine, and it deserves to be done right. So anyways, that's the plan for now, guys. All right, I just wanted to keep this video short, so we're going to sign off for now, and we'll see you on the next video.